Okay, so welcome to the second lesson of chess strategy series, and again I'm going over the concept of imbalances, and in the starting position I would like to discuss the initiative concept. So here, white just played knight h4, basically setting up knight g6 fork, and white would like to swing the other knight to e3, and then from there to d5, setting up some attacking possibilities for themselves. And let's say black just go king h7, basically protect from this. Here white continue by playing bishop c5, let's say queen c5, knight f3, knight goes to d5. So here let's say queen c5, knight f3 again, knight b6, knight d5, bishop d5 takes, knight e7, queen f4 check, king h8, c4, and white managed to create some complications. So that's why it's very important how you react in those types of positions. And here, you look at knight h4 and you gotta look at all the ways to protect this. So here actually, after move like queen f7, you not only defend g6 square, now the white knight on c4 is under attack, and now the e3 square isn't available for the knight. And if a knight goes here or to a3, this hangs a pawn. So now suddenly black is the one dictating the direction of the game, and white has to scramble to keep the position together, and all the choices don't look good for themselves, and black are now a lot better. So let's look at the second position of this episode, and right now I want to talk about king safety. So we won't talk a lot about attacking. You can check out my other series I'm doing right now, how to attack in chess, but this one is a very important in most games, right? And in this position, again, quite easy. If you watch some of my episodes of how to attack in chess, you will learn that basically f7 and f2 are the two weakest squares on the board in the starting position of chess game. So here, the black king is in castle, we have all the pieces pointing towards the king. So knight f7 is played, king f7, queen e6, king g6, bishop d3, king h5, and queen h3 is a checkmate. So the next position is all about statics and dynamics. So in general, dynamics is something that needs to be used in a reasonably quick manner, and static is like more of like long time, right? So in this position, white has an isolated d-pawn on d4, and black views the pawn as a static weakness, so the long-term weakness, and they try to blockade it with the knight on d5 and then play against it in the endgame. White views this pawn as a dynamic strength because it gains central space, it controls e5 and c5 squares, and it allows white to build some kingside and many lines, because look, bishop on d3 is looking good, pointing towards h7, knight on d4 can jump potentially to g5. There are always d5 ideas at some point, so I hope I could explain this to you. And now I want to show you a couple of games. The first one is played between Vasily Topalov and another grandmaster, Sasikira. So let's start. So the Topalov is playing with white pieces. They have this Nimzo on the board, b6, bishop d3, knight b2, knight f3, castle, d5, a3, bishop d6, c takes d5, e takes d5, b4, knight b7, b5, knight e4, bishop b2, rook e8, a4, rook 6, knight e2, a5. So we'll stop here, and here we'll try to basically get as many ideas as we can from strategic standpoint. So white has an advantage in queenside space. So a4, b5 pawns very good. Black have a potential weak pawn on c7, so this one, and so black's d5 pawn is weak since it can be, you know, protected by other pawn other than c6. So let's say black pushes the c pawn to c6 or c5, you know, they will create basically a hole with b5 and the weakness for themselves b6. Black's bishop on b7 is protecting d5 and is purely defensive. I mean, it actually is pure defensive here. Black's dark squared bishop is given firm support in basically to c7 pawn, and also maybe setting up some kingside attack, because rook can potentially go to h6 and then sacrifice itself, go queen h4, and white's bishop on b2 is very inactive, it's inactive, you know. And here we'll just go further into the game. Bishop a3 was played, trying to trade the bishops, rook c8, bishop d6, he takes d6, rook c1, knight f6, h3, bishop rook e7, queen b3, h6. So we'll go really quickly here. You know, black have a couple of weaknesses. You know, obviously white have huge space advantage on queen side, but unfortunately they cannot use it. Knight h2, queen g7. Actually, the end to this game is very beautiful. Queen e1, queen f3, and here, you know, knight h5 was played. G takes h5. Unfortunately for black, king h5 doesn't work due to queen f4, g4, queen h6 checkmate, or queen h2, queen h6 in the first place. G takes h5, queen g8, f5, knight g3, basically trying to get to f5. This knight g6 takes, now knight h5, and basically here, you know, if let's say king h5, queen h7 is a checkmate, so it can be taken. Queen e3 was played, king h2, and after queen d4, there is a draw for black pieces. That didn't happen. Queen e7, knight f4, king f6, g4, queen f7, queen d8, queen e7. This they repeat the moves 3 times, and now obviously went for takes, king d3, and this endgame is actually winning for white pieces, even though they're down a whole bishop. But these 3 pawns are very important and powerful. King f7, h5, thus h6, king g8, king f4, bishop e8, king g5, king f7, h7, king g7, h8 take, king f6, bishop b5. You know, 8 takes b5 works as well, but you know, basically went for king e7, setting up f6, f7, f8, and his opponent resigned in a couple of next moves right here, because basically let's say takes, and b5 this, takes this, a3 g7, and now king h7, and checkmate in 2 moves happened on the board. So right now, another very interesting example. Look at this. So I'll analyze this game on Monday, actually tomorrow, as you're watching this video. So that's a game from Nigel Short and Jan Timman from Tilburg, 1991. It's clear that white is in complete control of this position, you know, owns the d-file, queen is firmly located on f6, where white doesn't have any fear because black can't set up anything. You know, there are a couple of obvious candidates like knight g5, but knight g5 doesn't work because of queen g2, rook f4, you know, taking up this place and basically setting up some rook f7, but you know, unfortunately rook f4 doesn't work because of queen d7. So, and this leaves us with one piece that can lead the action here, which is the king. You know, you would be very happy to move your bishop if you had your dark squared bishop somewhere in c1 or d2. You'll be happy to get it to h6, and here actually this king can be used like that as well. King f4 was played, and basically, you know, black are left without any options, because basically let's analyze bishop c8, attacking the rook. We don't care, we don't move the rook to e7, d8, anywhere else we go, this. And basically there is no defense from this, because king h7, there is takes this and queen h6, and king f6 wins the game. So that's one of the most beautiful examples of king usage somewhere in the middle game, and it's actually insane, and I think it's very important to know this example. So another example I want to show you is the gameplay between Garakamsky and Veselin Topalov, and basically how you should think from different sides of the game. e4, c6, we have the Karakon on the board. We will start right there, just 6. So white think here that basically, you know, black will play bishop g7, tied down to protecting e5, so I'll have to play bishop f4, bishop d4, and you know, yeah, white have the pluses, because basically this f6 hole is very weak, and you know, somehow you just gotta use it. So how can white use it? Bishop g5 is an obvious solution, queen d2, and also some c4 making some complications. So here, you know, black now think. So black are now thinking from their side. They're like, alright, he's trying to open up the position. He tries to play against my king. But you know, if he captures with this, well, I'll recapture with my knight on d5 and I'll have a great home for this. So I don't care, you know, I want a castle, you know, I want to go bishop g7 and be fine. So now white have to come up with something, and they're like, alright, black are about to castle, so I gotta come up with some solution. And I'll play c takes d5. And here knight d5, and black are basically, I can be worse with knight on d5 like this. Bishop c5. And now black's king is in the center, and now black are thinking like, of course I won't do something crazy like knight d5, you know, I gotta be very safe and play something like bishop f8. So white now start thinking like, I'm really going to an f8 because it allows this king to basically get to g7. I'll play something more interesting, something more ambitious, and play queen c1, because now I have bishop f8, king f8, queen h6 idea, and now he has either to recapture or do something else. Rook c8, very interesting move, and now, you know, still trying to get this bishop to capture on f8. Bishop f8, but now due to tactical resources, black have knight e4. And you know, here, you know, white start thinking, alright, what can I do? This guy is just playing well. You know, he didn't let me do anything, so now I gotta get to somewhere to draw. Queen d1, knight d2, take king f8, rook c1, king g7. And you know, white have absolutely nothing, black have absolutely nothing, and players agreed to draw 20 moves later. And I'll finish this episode by showing you this position from the gameplay between Grandmaster Nisipiano and Milov. So here, you know, the position is quite sharp. White could focus on thoughts of the potential weak pawns on a6, c5, e4, f2 and h2. But you know, that's a very dynamic position here, and it requires a very dynamic solution as well. So, you know, here white play beautiful rook g4, a rook lift, and now basically white are threatening bishop f4, which is a very deadly threat, and black can't do anything. And after queen h2, queen f6, basically black had to resign because they had no desire to see, let's say, bishop f5, bishop g7 and capture on e5 and win the game, or I don't know, or queen h6, d6, basically threatening this, threatening on f7, and white will end up winning the game. So in the first two lessons we analyzed the concept of imbalances, and starting next one we'll start looking at minor pieces, you know, active bishops, knights, and all that. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next chess strategy lessons. Bye bye.